90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku and these are the top stories. Ajaero arrested for shunning police invitation over airpeace petition. NLC issues red alert as details of closed-door meeting over arrest of Joe Ajaero by DSS emerges. SERAP issues directive to President Tinubu over DSS invasion. Abure confesses on Labour Party quagmire. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, was arrested earlier today due to his failure to respond to multiple invitations from law enforcement agencies, including the police and the Department of State Services. This development was confirmed by security sources who spoke with correspondents. The arrest stemmed from a series of allegations involving Ajaero, including a petition by Airpeace Airlines, the details of which remains undisclosed. Furthermore, Ajaero is implicated in an alleged extortion case, which prompted the DSS to summon him, an invitation he did not honor. Now, adding to the complexity of the situation, the National Intelligence Agency also sought Ajaero's cooperation in an investigation related to Andrew Wine, a Briton accused of sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria, a charge Wine denies. Ajaero initially refused to engage with the police regarding his association with Wine, but later reconsidered. Despite this, after being released following an initial questioning, Ajaero did not appear for further sessions as requested. Now in August, the police had extended an invitation to Joe Ajaero for questioning related to severe allegations which includes criminal conspiracy, terrorism financing, treasonable felony, subversion and cybercrime. The NLC headquarters in Abuja Central Business District was raided as part of this investigation, with police operatives searching for what they described as seditious materials used for the hashtag End Bad Governance protest. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress has made some fresh decisions during its emergency closed-door meeting following the arrest of its national president, Joe Ajaero, earlier today. Now, you do know that Ajaero was arrested today at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by operatives of the Secret Service as he was about traveling to the United Kingdom on an official assignment. Now, following this arrest, the NLC summoned an emergency meeting of its National Administrative Council to discuss the arrest and chart a course of action. At the end of the meeting, the NLC unequivocally condemned the arrest and detention of Ajaero by security operatives. It also demanded the immediate and unconditional release of its detained president. The Labour Union said the arrest is an attack against all Nigerian workers. The NLC, via a communique issued at the end of the meeting, signed by its deputy president, Adeyanju Adewale, also placed all its affiliates, state councils and Nigerians on a red alert. It said the arrest of Ajaero is another attempt to delay the implementation of the new minimum wage. Now, in further mobilization of the action, the NLC also summoned this emergency meeting of the NEC for tomorrow, the 10th of September, to discuss further the next take on the fresh action. The NLC warned the government to stop the dangerous trend of going after dissenting voices, adding it would not waver in its duty to protect the rights of workers and the freedom of all Nigerians. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project also has urged President Bola Tinubu to immediately direct the Department of State Services to end the intimidation and harassment and attack against them, and of course threat to arrest against its directors. Now, you do know that earlier today, the DSS also invaded the Abuja office of the organization. They demanded the deputy director and addressed to its Lagos State office. The invasion is coming 24 hours after the group issued an ultimatum to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reverse a hike in petrol price. In a statement that was released to correspondents, SERAP's deputy director Kolawole Oluwadare disclosed that a tall tall, large, dark-skinned woman entered its Abuja office accompanied by a slim, dark-skinned man. Now, according to him, other officers were sighted in 2 unmarked vehicles stationed outside their office. The escalating crackdown on human rights and harassment and intimidation of NGOs and human rights defenders that have shown astonishing courage in human rights work hurt those most in need, according to the press statement released earlier today by SERAP. They disclosed further that it undermines access of Nigerian victims of human rights violations and abuses to justice and contribute to a culture of impunity of perpetrators. The statement went further to state that this government has an obligation to support and protect civil society groups, human rights defenders. They are seriously concerned about the growing restrictions on civic space and the brutal crackdown on the human rights of Nigerians. And still on the world news at 6, based on party politics, the Labour Party factional national chairman Julius Abure has recently disclosed that Peter Obi and Governor Alex Otti betrayed the party that fought for them. Julius Abure made the disclosure that the issue of campaign fund mismanagement should be directed to the former directors of the Obi Dati Campaign Council in the 2023 election, Doyin Okukpe and Akin Oshuntoku, who were in charge of the campaign funds. Abure made this statement while addressing his National Working Committee at a meeting in Abuja today. Abure stated that the Abia State Governor Alex Otti made wrong accusations against him, and he explained that there was no Supreme Court ruling against him. He also stated that issues concerning party agents for the Edo governorship election are in the hands of the party's candidate Olumide Akpata. Also stating further, he continued that he is declaring with the association, speaking on the allegation of mismanaging the 2023 campaign funds. Abure distantly dissociated himself from the campaign funds allegation. He stated, and I quote, "I must seize this opportunity to make some clarifications on a few issues. I and the party have been accused of being responsible for Peter Obi's failure in the 2023 general election. They have stated that the campaign election donations and funds for the payment of agents were mismanaged by the party. Hence, Peter Obi failed in the election." They stated further that the campaign funds were disbursed, administered in the southern states by the leadership of Doyin Okukpe, secondly, under the control of Akin Oshuntoku, while the funding of the campaign for the 19 northern states was handled by the vice presidential candidate of the party, Dati Baba Ahmed. The funding of the election was done by Peter Obi himself. It will be safe for me at this point to conclude that I and my colleagues elected in the convention of our party held on the 27th day of March 2024 will defend the mandate given to us by members of this party. No amount of intimidation or harassment will make us surrender this leadership. End quote. You're currently listening to the World News at 6. We'll take a very short break. This time around, we'll be speaking with our analyst via the telephone in the person of Barrister Eze Eluche. Barrister Eze Eluche is a political, national and social affairs commentator. He'll be responding to some questions posed at him. Do kindly stay with us. Welcome back. You're still listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Now, a chieftain of the Labour Party, Oseloka Obazi, has taken to his official X account to react to a viral WhatsApp message claiming that the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, has been arrested. In the viral message, it was stated that Peter Obi was arrested alongside his wife by the Department of State Service (DSS) at his home in Anambra State. Oseloka Obazi condemned the report and told the public to disregard it. He said Peter Obi is well and fine outside the country. He also shared some photos of Peter Obi at a construction site. Therein, he disclosed that the report was not true, as Peter Obi was with his wife and he was safe and sound as well outside the country at the moment. This report circulated based on the current crackdown by the Department of State Security Services as well as other civil rights and persons who were involved in the End Bad Governance protest who are currently in court or right now in Kuje prison. And that is basically what's accelerated this information. He concluded that Peter Obi is currently outside the country and safe with his family. Barrister Eze Uluche, good evening and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening and thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much. Barrister Eze Uluche, at the moment, because of the current crackdown across the country, there was a particular WhatsApp message that went around to indicate that the DSS had arrested Peter Obi and his wife. Now, according to Osaloza, he said the reason why this kind of information went round was that the government is cracking down on those who lent their voices during the hashtag End Bad Governance protest. You recall that Peter Obi himself, as well as Atiku Abubakar, were part of the persons who said Nigerians have a right to protest and could go on it. The WhatsApp message went viral, which made a lot of people panic that this could be another reason why there's been a witch hunt on Peter Obi. Why would you think such an information will circulate at this time when the polity is kind of tense, is standing on a thin thread?
Well, it is expected that a government that lacks legitimacy from the very onset will very much likely descend more into infamy and draconian tendencies. So that's what we're expecting from the Bola Tinubu regime. And I have always known that once the scam is exposed, once people begin to appreciate that he has nothing up his sleeves to offer Nigerians, once Nigerians realize that this is a regime that came in basically to steal and loot, without any idea or any thought about the common man or the moving Nigeria forward or enhancing our development, the government will have no other recourse, no other thing to do than to resort to intimidation, harassment, and mass arrest. But the Nigerians should get ready, because this is the time when people must say enough is enough and put a stop to the shenanigans of this regime.
All right, but Barrister Eze, that's a question. The reason is this creating room for propaganda and information that is untrue? Or is it because of the current crackdown across several sectors on persons who have lent dissenting voices on supposedly some of the policies of this current administration? And how will this current administration make sure that adequate information comes out before we hear them cracking down on certain persons or organizations?
Well, let us not use the word cracking down. These are illegitimate arrests. These are abuse of human rights. It's not as if there's cracking down on criminal elements. When the regime goes out of its way to just begin to do mass arrest without warrant in a democratic setting, it is illegal and unconstitutional. So it is for me, I've always known that this is where this government will descend into. And soon enough, they will begin to maybe infringe on the rights of the media houses. They begin to close down media stations. But then we must remain steadfast and strong and be able to resist the descent into infamy. But as for the rumors, the government has no mechanism to even stop it, because they can't even market themselves. I mean, the rumors will keep on flying, but I will urge Nigerians that the best is to shun rumors, wait for specific, truthful information. Like, for instance, the arrest of the NLC president today and the clampdown on SERAP.
Yes.
These are factual information. So we should only act on facts and not depend on rumors.
All right.
In
so,
a situation like this,
okay,
you cannot but have some rumors flying around.
That's basically why I am actually talking about this now. A situation, for example, today we saw, or we heard the information that Joe Ajaero, the NLC president, was apprehended at the international airport today Also, the DSS, the SERAP office in Abuja was raided. They were asking for the deputy director. Now, they said they did not give any reason whatsoever as to why they needed the deputy director of SERAP. Both happened simultaneously. In the case of Ajaero, the first time he was invited by the police, he responded to their questions. He didn't take long. He was accompanied by his lawyer. When he returned, Ajaero said they were just asking questions about a tenant in the Labour House. So why was all the questions required to be asked not asked then? Just 2 or 3 days after that particular visit to the police station, or rather to the office of the police, or after responding to the summon, we now saw another invite from the police. So if this is a police case or a civil case, where does the DSS come in having to apprehend him at the airport today?
Well, the fact is that I don't know where the DSS think that whenever they invite somebody, you must respond to the invite. There is no compulsion to respond to the invitation. If they are ready to make an arrest, they can come up and make an arrest. But of course, we come and when you feel like obliging them, you can go and oblige them. Otherwise, you can actually ask them to send in the questions and then you respond in writing. Because we should understand that there are laws, there are rules, and there are practices which any sane security agencies have to comply with. You cannot at your own, whenever you think it's appropriate to invite somebody. Somebody is traveling abroad for a meeting and you say he must respond to an invitation. It doesn't work that way. So the reality is that these security agencies must understand that we're not in the military dictatorship. We are in a civilian setting, democratic setting, where individuals have rights. Then when you summon somebody or you invite somebody and it doesn't come, is it by force you have to respond to invitations? They cannot go and get a court order, and then if it means an arrest, let it be with a court order, and not just by the flimsy response of some person in the office that go and bring them and he failed to come to respond to our invitation. It does not mean that it's an invitation. It's not a compulsion. The word itself, invite, means the person being invited has a liberty to respond. Then if he doesn't respond, that doesn't mean you have to go and arrest him. What are the charges you have against him?
All right, but Barrister Eze, according to what the Deputy Director of SERAP is saying, that this is a continuous crackdown on human rights, harassment and intimidation of the NGOs and human rights defenders that have shown astonishing courage. Now, apparently, the way it seems right now is that anyone who speaks against the government, anyone who calls for change, anyone who says, look through your policies, anyone who says, let's go on a protest, anyone who says anything that challenges whatever the administration is all about, is considered that the person has committed treason. And so analysts like yourself and legal practitioners are saying that this administration has liquidated, all right, the word treason, that anything whatsoever that is in opposition, they have termed it to be treason. Are you of that line of thought as well?
No, that is absolute nonsense. Actually, some of us have asked the Nigerian Bar Association to sanction members of the bar who participate in the prosecution of protesters for treason, because it's simply crazy. There is no matter how you stretch the definition of peaceful protest, like the end bad governance protest, it can never equate to treasonable felony. So we have urged the Nigerian Bar Association to ensure that any member of the bar who participates in the prosecution of peaceful protesters for treason should be sanctioned by the bar, and irrespective of his rank. If it is seen that the Attorney General, that Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, who is the senior advocate of Nigeria, is part of this abuse of the legal institution, then he should also be sanctioned by the Nigerian Bar Association. So as for the government moving against those who call for protest or those who speak for opposition, they should realize that we have over less people. The people that voted for Mr. Tinubu amount to less than 30% of the electorate. So if he's going to be arresting the opposition, he has to make Nigeria a prison here, because we are talking of over 100 million people to be arrested. And as long as this government is not governing well, as long as it shows nepotism, it shows streaks of corruption, of plutocracy, Nigerians will always condemn it. Like some of us, like me, for instance, we will keep on saying this is not how to govern, and people should stand up in opposition, peaceful opposition. And it's a constitutional right. Nobody can intimidate Nigerians. He can get away with some of these scams for a while, but eventually sovereignty lies with the people, and eventually these people must triumph over illegality.
Barrister Eze, one of the things, right, that was released today as to why Joe Ajaero was arrested, they ruled out some, details. They said one of the reasons was there was a petition by Airpeace Airlines, which they did not disclose, details of which remains undisclosed, than that Ajaero is implicated in an alleged extortion case, which prompted the DSS to summon him, and that invitation he did not honor. Adding to the complexity of the situation, the National Intelligence Agency also sought Ajaero's cooperation in an investigation related to Andrew Wine. Now, you recall Andrew Wine is a Briton that the federal government has alleged is being accused of sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria, although Wine has actually denied that. So, again, Ajaero had refused all of this summons, but later reconsidered having to obey the summon. So, if that is the case, did it warrant the DSS taking the action they took today? Secondly, how do you think this administration should repair the damage these supposed arrests are taking on Nigerians who literally are hanging on the thin thread? Hello, Barrister Eze Luchi. Can you hear me?
I am hearing you, yes.
Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead, sir.
Me?
Hello, Barrister Eze, go ahead.
Yes, I am hearing you now. I'm saying if the police or the DSS invites anybody,
yes,
you, out of courtesy, you can respond to their invitation. Now, this Ajaero fellow has done that once, when they should have utilized that opportunity to ask whatever they would. The security agents are not at liberty to be inviting you every day, because we are not working as somebody who just could be responding to invitations. You've got other things to do for a living. So the fact that he has responded, if there are new issues that crop up,
yes,
that's a different ballgame. But always inviting and expecting that you must be responded to is not how it works. And with regards to the Mr. Wine, the British national in a video I watched has asked the Nigerian authorities, let us meet at the Nigerian High Commission in London, and I'll respond to your invitation. If you don't explore such opportunities and you keep on harassing Nigerians, it's not proper. It's unfair. There are ways these things are done. If you now exhaust all invitations or all opportunities to interview the British national or whatever, and then you find more information, then you can now act against your Nigerian collaborators, each any. But the fact is, Nigerians are staying through all this as a scam, as a ruse to intimidate the opposition. And I wouldn't be surprised if down this lane, if they continue this path, they may even think of arresting people like Atiku Abubakar or Peter Obi or whatever. But Nigerians should rise up and say enough is enough. Otherwise, this government will turn us into a banana republic. And we are not monkeys. We're not animals. We are human beings. We are Nigerians.
Hello, Barrister Eze.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you very well. You're not hearing me?
Yes, okay. I think we're having a court issue, but I think it's clearer now. All right, Barrister, let's move on to party politics. The Labour Party has declared that there is no more automatic ticket for Peter Obi and Alex Otti. According to the Labour Party, they said that Peter Obi and Alex Otti betrayed them, and that person is the person that made that statement was Julius Abure. Julius Abure actually stated that for now he is not happy with how things went, and concerning the mismanagement of funds or embezzlement of campaign funds, that during Okukwe and Oshun Toku are those responsible for the mismanagement of funds. So because of that, they sat down and they said that right now for 2027, they had taken back, or they've retrieved the statement where they said Peter Obi would be given an automatic ticket. So for now, everything is going to be open. If you're interested, you buy the nomination form. It's an open platform at this moment. So how do you think this party will move on from now? Because Julius Abure is being referred to as a factional chairman of the Labour Party.
The fact is, up to the moment when Mr. Peter Obi in 2023 decamped from the PDP and then decided to enter the Labour Party was one of those parties. It was a party that was not even recognizable to Nigerians. So for them now at this stage to be bad-mouthing their main members, the only governor they have, and it shows that there is lack of seriousness. But this is not unexpected. know, and I'm very certain of it, that before the next election, the current regime will destroy the Labour Party. They will use litigation, they will use the bureaucracy, they will use all means available to them to destroy the Labour Party. So Mr. Peter B has displayed. So let us not keep on talking about these people as if we cannot move forward without them. Like, we have about 200 million Nigerians, and at the appropriate time, the appropriate leadership will emerge. And let me assure Nigerians, that leadership can emerge from whatsoever ethnicity, whatsoever religion. All Nigerians want is who will move us forward. During the last elections, Mr. P2B showed a very shining example that he was in that position. He could do that. But that does not mean that by the next 3 years, when 2027 approaches or arrives, it will still be him. It could be somebody else. But all we need is that we cannot remain at this degrading level where Mr. Bola Tinubu's regime has placed Nigerians. We must, at the earliest possible opportunity, discharge ourselves of this horrendous news that the regime has placed on our neck and be able to move on Nigeria forward. The killing, the dying is too much.
Barrister Ajaero, thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your perspective on some of the questions posed at you on the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
All right, that was Barrister Ajaero. He is a political, national and social affairs commentator responding there. We sincerely do apologize if in some instances the audio wasn't properly okay. We're actually working on that. And now to wrap up the world news at 6, here again are the top stories. Ajaero arrested for shunning police invitation over Airpeace's petition. NLC issues red alert as details of closed-door meeting over arrest of Ajaero by DSS. SERAP issues directive to President Tinubu over DSS invasion. Abure confesses on Labour Party quagmire. That's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.